Hey there guys, today I'm going to be talking about how to defeat the pansir. Now the pansir is added in the most recent update and it is a very powerful SPAA, but it does have some very noticeable distinguishing factors that you can use to your advantage. And I'll be going over those in this video. So the first thing that you want to take note of is its RWR signature. You can use this to actually identify when there's a pansir employed by the enemy team if you haven't seen anything on like the kill feed. And the best way to distinguish it is by how slow it is. So you'll get a good example of that here. See how long the break between the beeps is on my RWR? That is pretty distinct in terms of the pansir, in that it has a relatively slow scan, especially considering the fact that if the person using it has put their radar to look up to like 70 degrees or something like that, which is the highest it can go, it'll do a 3-bar scan technically. It's kind of interesting, but you'll notice that the repetition is relatively slow. And this can give you a good idea that the pansir is actually up, as opposed to a fast repetition indicating something like Tunguska. So the next thing you want to do is figure out how you're going to, kill it. I've seen many people do many different things, from sneaking in close and doing gun runs, or dropping GBU-8s from 20 kilometers away on a point at the enemy spawn and just hoping they get kills before the thing renders in for them. But there's some things that you can do to kind of increase your chances of killing. So one thing that you probably want to know is, despite the fact that the pansir has a very long range in terms of its actual missiles, how far they can technically go, their actual effective range isn't that far, because out past probably like 6 miles they'll actually really struggle to pull and hit a maneuvering target. See a good example of that here, where he shot at me and it just flies right behind me because it can't pull enough lead. The other thing that you can do, you can kind of see what I'm doing here, where I'm bobbing up and down. If they have auto lead on, this will very quickly drain the missile speed, because it'll be going up and down rapidly trying to readjust to your new course. It's less effective if they're manually guiding it, but a lot of players choose not to do that. The other thing you want to note is that when it comes to rendering, the pansir will render for you if 2 things happen. 1, it has you locked on radar, and 2, it launches a missile at you. Usually the instant it launches a missile is when it will render, at least at extremely long ranges. So you can use this to not only determine when you've been fired at, but also as a way to actually see where they are. You can see that in this case, he's kind of moved. I'm really looking around for him here, since my charging pod on the current ass doesn't actually have thermals or anything like that. And he ended up more to the left, but it's no big deal, because I do find him here. You can see he's rendered in and I spot him. Unlocks for whatever reason, get the launch off, and I'm just going to pull a turn. Generally, especially when it comes to any sackless missiles now, it's very hard for players to hit maneuvering targets, so just doing some gentle pulls will also greatly assist in your ability to defeat the missiles. And you can see there that just flew harmlessly behind me. So, this pansir is dead because you didn't bother trying to shoot down the Maverick. Generally, they can't shoot them down with missiles. They'll have to hit them with guns. I'm not entirely sure why that has to do, why that happens. Something with the damage model. But in any case, that is 1 dead pansir. The other interesting thing about the pansir is that its radar, unlike the Tor's, has a Doppler speed gate. And on the Tor, this means that the radar is exceptionally susceptible to chaff and will pick it up like all the time, and it's very annoying when you're actually using it. But on the pansir, what it means is that it won't pick up chaff, but it also has a hard time picking up very slow moving aircraft, specifically helicopters. I'm not entirely sure what specifically it is about helicopters, but the pansir's radar, at least in my experience, has a very hard time actually detecting them. It can lock them just fine, but usually they have to visually see you for that to happen. So helicopters are actually a decent counter to the pansir if you position yourself right. In any case, that's it for this video, and I will see you in the next one.